What's going on, guys? My name is Luke and welcome to a video I'm going to do today, which is basically I'm going to give you my impressions of Mob of the Dead, because today I finally got a chance to play it, even though it was only one day since it was actually last brought out. But okay, yeah, so today I'm just going to give you my impressions of it and what I thought about it. And yeah, it's quite a badass map. For anyone who doesn't have it yet, for anyone who's waiting like me on PlayStation, you're in for quite a treat. Everyone, you're all in for quite a treat. But yeah, let's get cracking, I think. So yeah, it's set on Alcatraz Island, which is in Alcatraz or San Francisco or wherever you want to call it. Yeah, I think it's San Francisco. My geography skills fail me sometimes, but yes, San Francisco. I'm going to go with that because there's monuments such as the Golden Gate Bridge mentioned in it. So San Francisco, that's what I'm going with. Yeah, it is set during the Prohibition era, which is basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it is the time when alcohol was banned. There was a ban put on for alcohol; it wasn't allowed to be sold, and then it was just snuck in to underground clubs that were called speakeasies. It was basically like there'd be music and everything, and then there'd be people getting in there like secretly. Maybe like be a hidden bookshelf or something in a store or something. But yeah, that's basically what the Prohibition era was, and it was ran by mobsters and gangs and things of that nature. Yeah, so it gave such characters like Finn O'Leary, who's played by Michael Madsen, Albert Arlington, which is played by Joe Pantoliano. Yeah. Then Salvador De Luca, or Sal, as he's mentioned in the map. He's played by Chaz Palminteri, and then Billy Handsome is voiced by Ray Liotta. They're all basically their lookalikes, but named as certain people. But yeah. So there are your 4 playable characters in Mob of the Dead. There are also other characters which are you play as the prisoners and as police officers, which are in the grief mode of Mob of the Dead. But I'll talk about that later on in the video. But yeah, the size of the map is absolutely massive. It's massive. There's 5 main areas that would be explored in this map. Like that can be distinct. Like you can give a name to a specific place. There's the docks, the Citadel, the warden's office, the infirmary, and the showers. So that is the basic, basically the main areas and the areas of interest in the map. There's a new feature in Mob of the Dead which they put into zombies. It's called the Afterlife mode, and basically Afterlife is when you play as a spirit and you wander about to try and figure out a way to make your team progress further, or if it's just you, make you progress further. Sorry. And yeah, you can do stuff such as turning on power supplies to open doors. It's most revolves around turning on power supplies, because your one attack is to shock. You can shock stuff by aiming at it. But unfortunately, you can't kill any zombies. Shocking a zombie will only teleport it to another destination. But yeah, once you would shock a volt supply, it would turn on the power to a door and open up the door, or it will turn on a perk. Like it'll be a voltmeter beside the perk, and then you could just flick it on with Afterlife and turn it on. And it also is used to power the building in general. Like there's a main power supply in the building, and that's where you find it and use Afterlife to turn that on. There is the downside to Afterlife. You can only use it once every round. You can consider it as your backup, your second card, or whatever you want to call it, whatever nifty little phrase you want to use to describe it. But it is basically like a second life in a way. You can if you go down and you have your Afterlife, you can spawn as a spirit, find your body. If there's any zombies surrounded by it, you teleport them away from your body, and you can just revive yourself, which is pretty easy enough, to be honest with you. So, but the downside to it is, if you get downed by a zombie or killing yourself or whatever the case may be, you will lose your perks. The only way you can avoid losing perks going into the afterlife is using one of the boxes that are supplied with electricity. Basically, what it does, you hold X or square or whatever on the box, and you'll shock yourself and die, quote unquote die, and you will go into the afterlife, and then you can respawn yourself. Afterlife is also in a time limit. If you fail to get back to your body in the time limit, you'll instantly go down. You'll need to be revived by a teammate rather than you reviving you. That makes sense. Yeah, so that's the afterlife. So that's a pretty genius addition to zombies. I actually enjoy the way it works. There's also a new zombie boss, which unfortunately it can get annoying because it will cause havoc on you. His name is Brutus. He's basically the zombie warden of Alcatraz, and his purpose is to just wreak havoc. Like, that is basically what it is. What he'll do is he'll turn off perk machines and stuff like that, and it will cost to get the ability to use them again. So, say if you turn on Speed Cola and he goes and deactivates it, you need to unlock it again for 2,000 points. 2,000 points unlocks anything that he just disables. So 2,000 points plus the cost of Speed Cola. That's 5,000 points already spent on a perk. And if he ends up destroying the box, then you're going to be in for a worse of a time because you need to pay 2,000 for that as well, and that can still be easily destroyed again. And it's a bit of a waste if you need to spend 2,000 points just to use the box again. But that's how it works. He also turns off workbenches, but they're only needed when you actually need the item. But having to pay for an item that you build yourself and it's basically free, then it kind of gets a bit frustrating. But that's just how it is, I suppose. But he's strong enough. But if you have a good gun and possibly double tap to back up that gun, you will not need to waste too many bullets. You'll take him out pretty easy, and then you'll get a free drop perk afterwards for taking him out, and he'll spawn fairly regularly, I suppose. But the only case he will not spawn regularly is if you overuse the mystery box. And overusing the mystery box will make him spawn on top of you and disable the mystery box, and he'll start running about doing this thing, But yeah, that's basically the new zombie boss. No denizens, no crawlers, thank God. But there's Brutus. He's like a new George Romero. But yeah, there's also the Beast as well, which is basically the Hellhound. You may have seen in trailers. It's just a big Hellhound head sticking through fire. And what it does is that when a zombie dies, it picks up the corpse and starts eating it. So it's pretty similar to the Moon Easter egg. The one with the soul capturing in the jars. Yeah, basically, you capture 100 souls in the jars, and you need to get that. So that's what that is. It's the same thing to that, basically. But doing this will reward you with a thing called the Hell's Retriever, which is it's a flaming tomahawk, and it comes back to you like a boomerang, and it's designed to kill zombies and pick up drop perks if they're in its line of sight when you throw it. So that is really handy. The only downside to that is there's a 5-second recovery time. I haven't had this myself. I haven't used it yet, but I've seen what it's able to do, and it is pretty cool. There is also a form of travel in the new map, and you can travel by gondola. So it's pretty cool. The cost of it is 750 points, but it needs to recharge after it's used. But it must be called to its required area. So if you're at the top of the gondola and it's at the bottom, you need to call it up and you need to wait. So just make sure you're prepared for that if you want to do that. It's fairly handy to get away from zombies as well, as you are trying to run away from them or whatever. Try to get an extra few feet away from them. It's handy enough. And there's also traps into zombies again. Thank God, there's more traps. And traps haven't actually. I've looked into this, but there's no traps in any map since Ascension. Ascension is the last map to have traps in it, like payable traps. So it's good to see that come back into it. But there's 3 traps in it. There's the acid trap, which is 1,000 points. It's very effective. It's just a big shower, or like it's acid that comes out from sprinklers from the ceiling. Sorry, it's just hard to explain that. um, yeah, and just basically kills them straight away, as traps are fairly effective. But it's also like a fire trap or a electric trap. It can be a risk to decide to go through it. You could end up killing yourself in the process. But that's not the case for the fan trap, the second trap that's in this. It basically will chop up any zombie that passes through it, but you can also pass through it by crawling under it, as it only just takes up the top parts, and you just go and crawl underneath it. And that is also 1,000 points. Then there is also the tower trap, which costs 1,000 points as well, as most traps do. But yeah, it's a watchtower that would, for some reason, snipe zombies from the watchtower. It would just snipe them down. I found this out when I first came across Brutus. I couldn't get him off my back, and I used the tower trap, and yeah, that was how it worked then. So yeah, that's the 3 new traps that are in it. There's the new perk, which you may have heard of, called the Electric Cherry. I don't know. I was very disappointed by this perk. It's not great. It's not. For my first impression of it, it's not great. It didn't make any effect on any zombies. I just bought it the one time, and I felt fairly confident. So like the purpose of it was that it had a big electric charge after you reloaded. So I was thinking, oh, it's kind of like Flopper in a way, or something like that. And then I expected to go into a horde of zombies reloading, and then thinking that the whole horde would die. They just kind of stunned briefly, and some of them did, but it was very risky to use, so I didn't do that in the future. It was kind of it ended up being just a kind of effect for me, like nothing. It wasn't really anything important, but yeah, that was the new perk. But there was some disappointing things with perk-wise as well. Disappointing things perk-wise. They in Die Rise, if you looked in theater mode, there was a PhD Flopper in the map, but you weren't able to access it. They did this again with Mob of the Dead, and they've also thrown Mule Kick into the mix as well. So it's Trollarch at the works again. But if you want a bright side to it, Deadshot Daiquiri's back in the map as well. So it's alright, I suppose. But PhD Flopper and Mule Kick are only available on the Grief mode of Mob of the Dead. At least it's available. It's the first map that's had it available, but otherwise it's I'm disappointed with regards to that. But yeah, let's move on to the next part. New weapons. There are a total of 5 new weapons in the box in Mob of the Dead. There is the AK-47, the Death Machine, the Blundergut, the Uzi, and the M1927. So let's just start with the ones that you find in the mystery box. In the mystery box, you'll find the AK-47, which is Reznar's Revenge upgraded. It is quite powerful, but I haven't gotten it upgraded myself, but I figured out the name of the upgrade one was Reznar's Revenge, which was pretty good. But yeah, I hadn't had a fair go of it, but it was quite good from the time I used it, because I died kind of straight away after I used it. But yeah, the next one you find in the mystery box, there's the Death Machine. It is fairly powerful as a fast fire rate though, so you can kill your bullets very easily. But there's 150 bullets in each magazine, so it's a win-win kind of, or win-lose-win, I don't know. But there's 450 bullets overall. But there is a massive downside to the Death Machine, which is that it feels your mobility has been cut in half. You will move so slowly with the Death Machine that a horde would easily get you. So do not have that out when you're trying to train zombies or whatever you want to do. Then there's the Blundergut, which is pretty much the wonder weapon of this map. It's a quad barrel shotgun. It is extremely powerful, and it will go through several zombies for each bullet. There's 1 bullet in each mag, so the 1 bullet would be 4 bullets, and then it'll go through all the zombies, so it's pretty good. When it's upgraded, it's called the Sweeper. It increases the ammo capacity by 1 bullet, so it's 2 bullets in each round. It also increases damage, as a pack-punch weapon would usually do. So let's move on to the wall weapons. There's only 2 new wall weapons in this map, but still, new wall weapons is good. There's the Uzi. It costs 1,500 points, and it's oddly enough found in 2 positions of the map. You can buy it from 2 areas. So yeah, it has a low ammo capacity. It's 25 rounds in each clip, but it is effective enough. It has a fast fire rate as expected by an Uzi, like, so it's good enough. Like, I prefer the next weapon. To be honest, it's the M1927, which people have been calling it the Thompson or the Tommy gun or whatever you've been calling it. But yeah, that's what it's called. It's originally called the M1927, and it is probably one of the best wall weapons I've used in a while. Next to the A94, it's probably the best wall weapon in the game. But it costs 1,500 points, and it's, compared to the PDW, it is way better. It has 50 bullets in a mag, and has 350 bullets left over, so that's 400 rounds. And the PDW only has 250, and that is it's pretty cool, like. But it's quite the beast gun to use, and it's when it's upgraded, it's called the Speakeasy, which is what I've told you. It's Speakeasy's an underground club that smuggled drink at the time, so it collides in with the Prohibition era, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's the weapons and all. And the next part I have here, buildables. There is three buildable items in Mob of the Dead. There is the Acid Got kit, which is basically, it turns your Blundergot into an Acid Got, and you need three parts to make this, and you'll be able to upgrade the Acid Got even if you've like upgraded already. It'll just turn your Blundergot into an Acid Got, and then can upgrade it, like. And basically what it does, it's a 3-bullet burst weapon that will stick acid pellets, or I can't really describe what they are. It sticks pellets to zombies, and it's kind of like a monkey bomb or a crossbow, which kind of attracts a horde of zombies, and it explodes a bunch of acid. So it seems pretty bad. It's like an acid trap in a way, so it's pretty effective. The next one is it's the return of the zombie shield. There are 3 parts for the zombie shield instead of 2, which was in transit. But it has a nice new look to it. But as you know, it's a zombie shield. You know what it does. It's the typical zombie shield. The third buildable item is called the Icarus, and that is basically your plane. There's 5 parts to Icarus. There's 1 part in each of the main districts of the map, or districts. That's what you can call it, districts if you want. Yeah. So there's 1 in the dock, 1 in the showers, 1 in the infirmary, 1 in the citadel, and there's 1 in the warden's office. And once you get them all built, it's basically your group's escape plan, quote unquote escape plan. So basically you would this would lead you to the Golden Gate Bridge, which is where Pack-a-Punch is, and that's where you go to upgrade your weapons. But once you've finished there, wherever you can stay there for as long as you want, but whenever you feel like you need to go, or pretty much have to go, you can just hop into one of the electric chairs that's there, and it brings you back to the first room, and you start in afterlife mode. You're continuing with the same round, but you have to go and rebuild the plane again if you want to go and get Pack-a-Punch again, or whatever you want to do. So that is basically Mob of the Dead there with all the maps. And there is also the grief mode I mentioned, which it's called Cell Block, and you play as the prison guards and the prisoners. It's the same as any grief mode map basically, with the only one difference: it's the first map to have Flopper in it. It's the first map in Black Ops 2 to have Flopper in it. It's the only map to date that has Flopper in it, and I really wished it wasn't. I wished there was Flopper in Mob of the Dead, but whatever, like, you know. But overall, Mob of the Dead, best map by far. It's one of Treyarch's best maps to date, I'd say. But they keep up with the DLC. But there's no denizens, nothing really irritating. But Brutus can be handled fairly easily, in my opinion. Downsides: no Flopper, Mule Kick, Troll Arc. Yeah, you know, they're mind games. But aside from that, great map, great weapons, and it will be a great experience for everyone who has not played it yet. Alright guys, I thank you guys for watching, and take care guys, and hopefully I will have some gameplay of Mob of the Dead when it comes out for PlayStation. So like, stay tuned for that, and see you later guys.